How much money do you need so that you never have to worry about running out of money? Well, sometimes you'll see an article, if you're just scrolling online, and it will say you need 10 to 12 times your annual income at your highest peak earnings year. Or maybe you'll see an article that says you need $1 million to retire. And they're all wrong. Not because they're bad articles. It's a good starting spot to think about it. But what you need to do is replace your income. It has nothing to do with a certain dollar amount, and it also means that you could have nothing in your portfolio and still never run out of money. Maybe you have a healthy pension, maybe there's rental income, maybe there's Social Security, maybe there's a combination of all of that. So when it comes to how do you make sure you never run out of money and how much is enough, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about during today's video. Once again, I am Ari Taublieb, a financial planner, and I help people retire early. So how much money do you need? At the end of the day, that is what you care about, so that when you retire, you do not second guess, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't consider this, and I wish I did that right before I retire, because that's just too much anxiety. It's not needed. So what I tell people is when it comes to how much money you need, if you listen to the podcast, the early retirement podcast, or maybe you just hear other podcasts, you've probably heard me talk about how much you need. And the answer is this. I'm going to tell you right now. What you need is to replace your income. Let's pretend that I have $1 million and you have $10 million, and I want to spend $1 million a year and you want to spend $100,000 a year. Without looking at taxes or any fancy stuff quite yet, quite simply, I'm going to run out of money in 1 year and you are going to be perfectly fine because you have $10 million and you're only spending $100,000 a year. Well, why would I even bring up that super basic example? Because the same principle applies when we look at complex situations. Let's pretend that you want $100,000 a year. That's what you want to be able to spend every single year. And let's say that maybe you've heard a video where I talk about Guyton's guardrails, which is how much can you take out of your portfolio and never run the risk of running out of money. Maybe you've heard of the 4% rule, where you can be rest assured, assuming you're invested in 50% intermediate term US bonds and 50% US large caps, that you will not run out of money and you can withdraw 4% from your portfolio every single year, and that will last you for 30 years. Well, a study came out from John Guyton who said that 4% rule, it's a good starting spot, kind of like the articles I talked about at the beginning, but it doesn't go deep enough. And what I mean by that is the 5 to 5.5%, that withdrawal rate, that's actually more realistic of what you can expect to take from your portfolio, assuming you're following certain rules and assuming you're invested very intentionally. That's what I help clients to do. So let's use this example. Let's assume you have $1 million and you want to be able to take out $100,000 a year to meet your living expenses after taxes adjusted for inflation. If that's you, well, what you can easily do is go, Ari, actually, I'm more $60,000 a year or $80,000, or I don't even know. I just know I don't want to run out of money. What do I start thinking about? Well, this is exactly that. Once again, you want that $100,000 every single year adjusted for inflation after taxes. Well, here's what you're going to do. You're going to determine what fixed income sources exist today. Meaning, if you want to make sure that you can have that $100,000 a year, is that fully coming from the portfolio? Maybe it is for a certain amount of years, especially if you want to retire early, but then all of a sudden, there's other income sources. There's Social Security. Maybe there's other rental income, maybe there's a pension, maybe there's inheritance, other stuff comes up, and so it's not fully up to your portfolio to generate the full amount. Let's look at this example. Between you and your partner, maybe $4,000 a month is coming from Social Security, just saying $2,000 a month each. Well, if that's the case, that's $4,000 a month. We know that we want $100,000 a year, so $4,000 a month times 12 months, well, right off the bat, that's $48,000, call it 50 to make it simple. Meaning $50,000 a year is half of what we need to live off of is coming from non-portfolio income. Great. Now we need $50,000 to be generated from our portfolio, which is the next question when it comes to how much money do we need? Where is that money? Is it in an IRA? Is it in a 401k? Is it in a Roth IRA? Is it in a brokerage account? Let's assume it's in a Roth IRA. If it's all in a Roth IRA, which is rarely the case, but I use it for example purposes, well, if you want $50,000 every single year, well, it's very simple. Yes, we can take that and there's no taxes, nothing else we need to consider. But I would actually advise against that, and here's why. A Roth IRA is a wonderful account, but it's so wonderful that you can only put in X number of dollars every year. You can only put up to $6,000 if you're under 50, $7,000 if you're over 50, and you need earned income and to be below certain income limits. Now, do not forget that the government is smart in the sense that they say, hey, here's how much you can contribute. We're not going to let you put more than that. Now, a very big misconception here, before getting into the rest of the point, is that people hear about a 401k, a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k. They are on different schedules. You can contribute not just $7,000 to your Roth IRA, which yes, you can do, but you can also contribute $27,000 if you're over age 50 to a Roth 401k. So you can get $34,000 completely tax-free into these retirement accounts. Many people think, Ari, if I do a Roth IRA, does that mean I can't do a Roth 401k? No, those are separate. So you can do both, assuming cash flow allows for it. I don't want you sacrificing quality of life just to hit as much we can get into these accounts. That's the maximum. It doesn't mean you need to do the maximum to be okay. That's where the conversation really begins. So back to the main point here. How much money do you need? Well, assuming that you have $50,000 coming from a Roth IRA and you have another 50 or so coming from Social Security, wonderful, we've got our needs met. Very simple. Ari, you're the best advisor ever. You broke it down. No, it gets more complicated than that. Social Security, your state may tax Social Security. I'm in California and they don't tax it here, but they may tax it where you live. So you need to make sure, what are we ending up with? Let's assume that your Social Security paycheck is $2,000 and you receive your check and you see, all right, that's not $2,000, it says $1,850. Well, maybe there's taxes being taken out of that, which is why you're not receiving the full amount, and that's what we need to make sure we're accounting for. Same thing with your IRA or 401k. What if you say, Ari, I know I want another $4,000 a month to supplement Social Security? Wonderful. If that's you, do we need $4,000 to come, or do we really need $4,500 or $5,000? Do we need that amount so that we can end up with $4,000 a month after taxes? Because that's really what we want. What is the after-tax amount? That's what we care about. Not just, okay, great, what's in our IRA, what's in our 401k? We want to know what's the amount that we want to live off of for the rest of our life so we never have to worry. So step one, determine what fixed income sources exist. Step two, when do you want to retire? That is a huge factor. If you want to retire at age 50, well, you need your money to last for 40, 50 plus years. So for you, how do you never run out of money? You understand, what are your expenses? What are taxes going to be like? Go through a planning process, either with myself or another planner, to find out what that is for you. Above and beyond that, there are what I call the what else considerations. There is so much going on. And how can you maximize by not worrying about running out of money? Well, you can do that by investing very intentionally. You can do that by working longer. You can do that by saying, what is in my control? Well, I can control how much I save on taxes. I can control how long I work. I can control how I set up my portfolio, but you can't control what the markets will do. You can set yourself up well, but no one really knows. And so at the end of the day, the way that you create confidence going into retirement and not having to think about, hey, am I going to run out of money? The way you do that is by having a strategy. When someone does not have a strategy, when there is no plan, I don't know how anyone does it. Now, I know a lot of people do, but that would just give me anxiety. It gives me anxiety right now, and they're not even clients of mine. But when people reach out and they go, Ari, I don't know where to start with all of this, I say, how could you know? If you have not been working for years on exactly financial planning and have an expertise of tax planning, of insurance, of saying, do we have proper protection in place, of saying, how much can I withdraw from my portfolio and how do I do that? Well, that's what we help people to do. So I hope this video was helpful. Please know it's more fun to retire with a friend, with a family member. So if this video has been helpful, please share it with them so they can retire as well with you, and you guys can travel, spend more time with family, more time with each other. If you haven't already, check out the video where I talk to strangers and I ask them about money. I ask them, what can you do now that you couldn't do because you were retired? And they'll say, Ari, I get to sleep in. And Ari, I get to drink Chardonnay more often. And I get to do some of these amazing things that they've been putting off. Wonderful. What other questions do you want me to ask people? Because I love finding out. I'm truly in love with retirement planning. And I love finding out what people have done to be successful in retirement so I can share it all with you. Please remember to like this video if it was helpful and comment if there's a specific video you want me to make in the future. I do appreciate when you do subscribe so that you get notified of all future videos. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you don't know, I am the host of the Early Retirement Podcast, and this is what I love doing. I help people create a custom strategy to retire early. You can always reach out to me or a member of our team here at Root, and we would be happy to walk you through our planning process to show you how we can help you get more life out of your money.